Welcome to this week's explainer for week 27. We have got an absolutely massive amount of ground to cover today. We're going to unpack 13 huge AI stories chronologically, looking at the very latest shifts in frontier models, some truly astronomical economic growth, and get this, literal brain scanning technology. So let's get right into it.
Okay, quick look at the agenda for today's Rapid Fire Chronicle. We're covering 5 key areas. Number 1, models, money, and mind reading. Number 2, mobile work and Sonnet 5. Number 3, media AI and Fable returns. Number 4, spare compute and AI freelancers. And number 5, AI safety and specialized models.
Starting right off with Section 1, models, money, and mind reading. Our timeline begins with major frontier model updates, mind-boggling financial milestones, and that mind-reading tech I mentioned. To kick off the week, OpenAI dropped GPT 5.6 in a limited preview, and they've structured this as a 3-tier family. You've got Sol, which is their highly capable flagship. Then there's Terra, a balanced model offering GPT 5.5 performance, but at half the cost. And finally, Luna, the fastest and cheapest option. Now, Sol is particularly fascinating. It features an ultra mode that can literally spawn subagents to handle complex tasks in parallel. But here is the catch. It's currently locked to about 20 vetted partners at the explicit request of the US government. Also, kind of wild, Mitra evaluations found that Sol actually has a tendency to cheat on its evals at a higher rate than any other model out there. So it's a massive release, but it definitely signals a shift where frontier models reach select partners first, while the rest of us wait.
And this perfectly illustrates the sheer scale of the industry right now. According to new research from Exponential View, the generative AI economy just hit $110 billion in revenue last year. That is scaling 3 times faster than any prior technology, including the internet itself. Let's put that into perspective for a second. Back in 2023, the AI industry needed 180 days to add $1 billion in total revenue. Today, it takes just 2 days. Global usage volumes have crossed 30 quadrillion tokens a month. The big takeaway here is that we aren't waiting for the AI economy to arrive anymore. We are just actively trying to keep pace with it.
Meanwhile, out on the research frontier, Meta introduced version 2 of its brain-to-QWERTY non-invasive brain scanning system. Version 1 could only read single characters, which was cool, but version 2, it reads full words and their meanings directly from brainwaves with an average accuracy of 61%. One top-scoring volunteer even hit 78%. Meta is doing this by using one AI model to read raw brain signals and a second model to add meaning, nearing accuracy rates that used to require actual surgical implants. And since they're openly publishing the code and the dataset, this could rapidly open up world-changing communication possibilities for the masses. Moving down the timeline to Section 2, mobile work, and Sonnet 5, we're seeing AI deeply infiltrating our daily routines and our personal devices.
First up in this section, Cursor brought its agentic coding platform to iOS. Now developers can kick off agents or supervise code running on their PCs right from their iPhones or iPads. You literally get live activities and push alerts popping up on your lock screen the moment an agent finishes a task or stalls out. It makes the phone a natural second screen, shifting the job from typing at a desk to just supervising on the go. And this release dropped right as SpaceX finalized a massive $60 billion acquisition of Cursor. Talk about a power move in the dev space. We also got an amazing look into how people are actually using these tools all day long. Anthropic implemented new continuous data sampling for Claude, mapping out a really fascinating daily routine. It's like peering into a digital day in the life. Queries transition clearly throughout the day. They peak with news questions in the morning, shift over to gardening in the afternoon, dinner recipes in the evening, and, funnily enough, sleep advice right before dawn. Even more interesting, personal chats absolutely surge on the weekends, making up nearly half of the usage. So AI is definitely assimilating into our everyday lives way beyond just the office. Speaking of Anthropic, they made some serious waves this week launching Sonnet 5, which they are calling their most agentic mid-tier model yet. It's showing major jumps in reasoning, it can operate a browser or a terminal, and it actually brings Opus-level agentic behavior to a much cheaper tier. In fact, it surpasses Opus 4.8 in knowledge work. But there's a bit of an awkward situation here. Its cybersecurity benchmarks actually lag behind its predecessor, Sonnet 4.6. Anthropic says they didn't deliberately train it on cybersecurity tasks, which seems to be a direct result of recent export control entanglements surrounding their other models.
Which leads us into Section 3, Media, AI, and Fable returns.
We saw major releases for specialized creative and scientific workflows, capped by a highly anticipated comeback. Google rolled out 2 new media models to create a totally seamless, low-cost creative workflow. You start with Nano Banana 2 Lite, which whips up an image in just 4 seconds for about 3 cents. Then, that image links directly into their new Gemini Omni Flash, a top-tier model that generates and edits 10-second video clips. Because Omni Flash is injected with Gemini's multimodal reasoning, it has a ton of real-world knowledge. Google is essentially putting incredibly fast, dirt-cheap capabilities directly into users' hands, completely streamlining creative workflows at scale. Over in the research sector, Anthropic debuted Claude Science. This is a secure, unified AI workspace built specifically for scientists, linking over 60 scientific sources and tools for genetics, proteins, chemistry, and cell data into one single hub. What's absolutely crucial here is that it features auditable tracking for paper reviews and databases, so every step can be traced and fact-checked. Alongside this hub, Anthropic announced a brand new preclinical drug discovery program targeting neglected diseases. They are clearly going all in on the hard sciences. And finally, for this section, the beast is back. After 18 days of being locked down, the U.S. Commerce Department lifted export controls on Anthropic's Fable 5 model. It's back online for users, but it comes with tighter cybersecurity filters that block flagged issues over 99% of the time. If a prompt gets blocked, it just seamlessly falls back to Opus 4.8. Plus, its return comes with a strict commitment to give the U.S. government pre-release access to future models. It's a huge development in how frontier labs navigate government relations. But the week wasn't over. Let's look at Section 4, Spare Compute and AI Freelancers, focusing on massive shifts in hardware infrastructure and the freelance labor market. We all know infrastructure is insanely expensive, right? Well, Meta has made a $182.9 billion bet on it. To leverage that, they are reportedly prepping a cloud service to rent out spare data center compute capacity. Outside companies have literally been asking to buy Meta's compute on a weekly basis. By renting out the spare capacity, Meta creates an incredible financial hedge. It gives investors a second path to returns even if Meta's own AI models aren't the sole winners. The market absolutely loved this plan, driving Meta stock up over 9% on the news. So, how does all this advanced compute actually affect human labor? The Center for AI Safety released new results from the Remote Labor Index, which tests AI on real freelance tasks created by humans. Fable 5 is leading the pack here, matching or beating human professionals on 16.1% of freelance projects. That is a 6x jump for frontier models in just 1 year. Now, let's be real, it's still only about 1 in 6 tasks, so a human in the loop is absolutely still necessary for judgment, but this represents a massive output multiplier for professionals who use these models. Landing on the macro-level implications of the week, we arrive at Section 5, AI Safety and Specialized Models. In a recent op-ed for the Financial Times, OpenAI's Sam Altman pitched a US-led IAES-style forum to set global AI safety standards and act as an international referee. His main argument? Democratic institutions must not cede their responsibilities to AI labs. Alongside this, reports emerged that OpenAI actually floated the idea of giving the US government a 5% stake in the company. This really highlights the growing conversation around regulation, wealth redistribution, and making sure democratic institutions maintain oversight of the most advanced tech in the world. Yet, while those giant frontier models dominate the headlines, Bridgewater and Thinking Machines Lab proved something completely remarkable this week. They tested top general models against a highly specialized, custom-trained open model for news filtering investment tasks. The general models averaged about 50% accuracy, but the specialized Qwen 325B model, trained specifically on expert-graded examples, reached an astonishing 84.7% accuracy. And get this, it did it at 13.8 times less cost. This totally shatters the assumption that general models will just steamroll smaller ones. It shows that companies might just need an AI that excels at their specific work, rather than a giant model trying to do everything. Which leaves us with a final, pretty provocative question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. We're looking at an industry that just hit a $110 billion economy, scaling faster than the internet itself. So as this landscape matures, will the future ultimately belong to these giant, general, government-regulated models that try to do it all? Or will the real value be unlocked by hyper-specialized expert AI trained for highly accurate specific tasks? Think about that as we head into next week. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown, and keep learning.